Hey everybody, welcome back in Occupied Democrats, and I don't think I need to remind us kind of what we feel that the U.S. standards are for a lot of different things that run this country. But let's just say that, I don't know, law enforcement or the ability to solve problems might be kind of a high bar for what we're supposed to do. But in the mind of Donald Trump, while he'll tell you, I only have the best people, the truth of the matter is, what we now live in is what I like to call the Trump bar. And the Trump bar is ever changing depending on the day and how much he or someone that he has appointed or trusts in screws up. I don't know about you, but boy, would I sure like to see this clown out of the White House. Subscribe to the channel, by the way. And certainly in this breaking story, the latest screw-up would be his boy over at the FBI, Mr. Kash Patel. What an appropriate name for that clown. But I'll get to that story in just a second. But let's bear in mind, with regards to the shooting at Brown University, let's understand who Kash Patel actually is. From this
Patel thing goes beyond anything I've ever seen before.
It was an embarrassment, frankly, Lawrence. And by the way, no FBI director has ever been confirmed with fewer votes than Kash Patel. So he already came in with very little legitimacy.
Least votes ever and least experience ever, which leads to comments like this.
This presentation of Kash Patel is a deeply unserious person in an incredibly serious position. You know, in the government, there's about 3 million people who work for the federal government, something like 4,000 or so political appointees at the most. At the FBI, it's minuscule, right? And so Kash Patel's job, especially in the beginning, is to prove his competency to his organization and to show that he can be a leader. Instead, he's creating challenge coins with the $ cash on it, right? He's talking about spending time in Vegas. He's making references to Norse mythology when Charlie Kirk is murdered. I mean, this is just not somebody who's supposed to be leading the world's largest, the country's largest organization in law enforcement. And finally, this is a FBI that Donald Trump proposed cutting $800 million from and literally sucking out the vacant jobs to make us less safe as a collective country.
And when he was put on the spot previously regarding the Epstein files from the same person, Eric Swalwell, this is his actual reply. If you didn't get it then, here.
The first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
I have reviewed not the entirety of the files.
So you haven't reviewed all of the Epstein files?
Personally, no.
You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been a part of. Buck stops at the top, and your testimony today is you have not reviewed all the files.
It's amazing. You will not believe what Donald Trump just said about why they have yet to, the FBI, his Kash Patel's FBI, have yet to identify and find the shooter. When pressed, Donald Trump falls into the Trump bar. Well, let's bring that down. And as Donald only does, he always points the finger and blames somebody else when it's one of his people who winds up getting blamed. Check out this breaking video right here.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with, the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because, this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything. But you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact, and the FBI will do a good job, but they came in after the fact.
Did Donald Trump just say that the reason they haven't found someone is because the FBI came in late? That would be every single tragedy in the history of America. That since the inception of the FBI, when something happens live, not an investigation you have going on quietly, you're always going to come in after the fact, you clown. That's how it works. Your job is to put the pieces together. But Kash Patel might be a little too busy hopping in the government jet and dropping a bunch of cash on taxpayers to go sing in Nashville because she's a wannabe country singer. Who knows? It doesn't make any difference in this story because all Donald Trump will always do is blame someone else other than himself or someone who's one of his sycophant yes people, which is pretty much everybody in the cabinet. You guys like and share the video and stay frosty.